Well, hey there. I'm Matthew Kemps with Lone Wolf Realty Group at EXP Realty, and we have,
Nat Kirschling with Gold Star Mortgage.
and today our guest is
Todd Bailey, EXP Realty.
in the collective.
And the collective. Guys, thanks a lot for having me. This place is, you guys really put together some really cool stuff here.
Yeah, well, we try. Try to keep yourself, try to pull that mic a little bit in front of you, because
yeah.
what you hear here is, that might have been the bouncing.
Oh, yeah. I'm not,
Hey, we're going to pop your cherry.
hey, thanks, guys. I need all the help I can get here.
2 Mats, 1 market.
Love it.
What do we got?
All right. Today is going to be, let's first talk about the journey to EXP. We talked on the last episode with Dina a little bit on a few things. Russ talked a bit on the episode before, but now with Todd here. Todd is my sponsor at EXP. We're going to go into kind of what his journey was like to EXP to start with. Why did you choose EXP? What brought you there? Tell us some stories.
Yeah. So, but I do have to ask back to the podcast production here. Am I looking at you guys, or should I be looking at the camera? Or
You can look wherever you want, man.
Okay.
I would encourage you to just treat it like a conversation.
Yeah.
okay,
You don't want to be staring into the camera unless
No.
you got something you really just want a commercial.
just like
So what I do,
drive the point home.
Yeah.
Stare at
when
the
we're
camera.
call to actions, you look at the camera.
Okay.
Conversation of like what we're talking. It's just there recording us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Now I'm.
So why don't you tell me about EXP, Todd?
Okay,
Yeah.
you got it. So, guys, like it's been a really, really fun journey here in Austin. I moved here in 2002. So not to date myself, but I've been here a while, right? Downtown 6th Street was the only cool part about downtown. Now I live in a high-rise, which is,
Nice.
amazing down there. But, man, I just started, selling and leasing apartments to make some ends meet. I moved here with, some guys that we were going to start a restaurant. And as you can imagine, 20-year-old guys
Tough
trying-
thing to do.
Yeah, I think we thought we were just gonna like drink beer and hang out, and girls would come in and we make all this money and it would be super easy. So I got here, wasn't making any money. I worked with an apartment locator when I moved here, and I thought, man, if she made, I think $2,800 in an afternoon, I was like, man, I could lease some apartments. That'd be cool. So just started leasing some apartments. So I immediately became a top producer. I went out and got my broker's license. I started a boutique in 2004 and recruited 13 agents. We were kind of humming along, decided, hey, we need to support these agents, right? All these agents need support. So we bought a franchise called Real Living. Real Living was based in Columbus, Ohio. It was the 7th largest real estate brokerage in the country at the time. They got absolutely hammered in the recession.
Okay.
So it was a really good run with him. We ran it from 2006 to 2008. And then my business partner at the time, he decided to move to San Antonio. I tried to run the brokerage by myself for a year. And what I learned in that journey was, holy cow, like I'm a real estate agent during the day and I'm moonlighting as a broker. So trying to keep the laptops hot, trying to get the, computers or making sure the printer's working, vacuuming the office,
Right.
Doing the accounting, sending out DAs, all that stuff that brokers have to do. It's really, really tough. So I just decided to go back to production, started just selling houses, and then built a team over time. I was at a local brokerage here in Austin for 13 years, ran 3 different teams. And what I realized after 13 years at that brokerage and having run a brokerage, man, when I leave, I'm not going to have anything, right? I'm going to wipe the dry erase board off. All my transactions are gone. No equity. So the EXP model became pretty clear to me that, like, wow, if I start doing this over time, I'm going to start accumulating equity. So that's really, I could run my business at a really high level at EXP, and I start to earn stock and build equity. So
You kind of went straight into my second question. Question was going to be, from the journey to EXP, can you explain what the traditional brokerage model is like and what the modern brokerage level is like now? And how equity plays in, and kind of give an idea of what that actually is, so those that are watching understand what we're talking about.
yeah, so the traditional brokerage, kind of looks like, you've got your owner or investor at the top, right? Keller Williams, Gary Keller's at the top.
Sure.
Berkshire Hathaway is owned by Warren Buffett. The list goes on and on, right?
Are you just picturing that slide on your
I am. I have this in a really nice slide deck, so I'm like thinking about it. But as they want to expand, right, they have to break. Okay, like Gary Keller's the great example. He's an Austin guy. He's been doing this a really long time. Is this mic close enough? I feel like I'm kind of like.
Bring it a little closer.
Okay, I feel like a chicken kind of
Yeah,
like
get scooted.
pecking at this thing. Okay,
Your feet touch the ground.
they do. Keller Williams. Then you break it up into regions, right? So there's regional areas, and then they have franchise owners. So then they sell franchises to people. People buy the franchises. They can cost anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000, right? And you get you buy the franchise rights, and then next thing you know, you've got to take on office space, admin, heating and cooling bills, all the things, coffee machine, all the things that come along with running a brokerage.
Right.
So what happens is the agent ends up at the bottom of that totem pole, right? They have to pay the agent commission goes from essentially, they're the boots on the ground. They make a commission, and a portion of that commission flows all the way to the top. Portion of that commission pays for the office space. Portion of that, pays for the coffee, pays for the regional manager. So all those taxes, are the liability of the agent. And so if the agent's trying to build a team or whatever they're trying to build, they're paying this percentage. Well, in 2009, Glenn Sanford said, hey, this internet thing's real, right? Like, it's kind of funny to laugh about right now, but in 2009, he kind of seemed like a mad scientist, right? Nobody really bought into the idea of like, hey, a cloud-based brokerage really makes sense because, we eliminate the franchise. No franchise fees. We eliminate the office. No rent. We eliminate the administrative person at the front door. So all these expenses get eliminated. The agent goes from the bottom of the totem pole to the top of the totem pole. It's a beautiful model.
Works for me.
So that's the model. We got that covered. And one of the things that that you mentioned was the importance of having the equity, right? So that when you leave a brokerage, you're not just, as you put it, wiping the white erase board clean. You're leaving with something tangible. Can you kind of
tell us a story about private school?
Yeah. So, I moved my business about 24 months ago, and there's 5 ways to earn stock at EXP. We can go into that later if you want, but there's 5 different ways. So that we have what's called the agent equity model. You can take 5% of your agent commission, and you can buy EXP stock at a 5% discount. So if you opt in, it just happens automatically, right?
Sure.
So I decided, okay, I'm going to opt in. About 18 months goes by, and I'm, kind of settling some finances, and, through a divorce. I got divorced about, 3 years ago. So we're settling out some finances, and my kids' tuition came due. And I was like, man, I don't really want to pay this on a monthly basis. And I went to my EXP stock. I took $20,000 out, which I would not have had I stayed at the previous brokerage.
Right.
I took $20,000 out, paid for my kids' tuition for the year, all in one little, swing. So it's a really awesome way for people to really start thinking about, like, it's a 3-lane highway analogy, right? Everybody has lane 1. You can sell houses at any brokerage, right? EXP, one of the things that people overlook, EXP is number 1 in transaction count in the entire United States.
World.
Okay, yeah, so world.
Yeah.
So in the world, we are, and that sounds so grandiose, but it's the reality. We sell a lot of houses at a high level. There's a lot of really high top producers on our model. So we have lane 1. You can sell houses here at a super high level. But what you don't get is lane 2. You don't get to build equity.
Right.
Right? When was the last real estate realtor retirement party you went to?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
A funeral?
Yep.
Maybe?
Yeah.
That's how it is, right?
Yeah, it's usually like a Coldwell Banker or something.
Yeah. Like the you said it, but
Gray hair and blue goes together.
Right.
or like, the patches on the jacket that the Century 21
Those
guys
are
used to
coming
wear.
back, man.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to tell my stylist.
Fortunately, they don't have value.
Yeah. So, when I left my previous company, I left with a lot of trophies, a lot of pats on the back, but I didn't leave with equity. And that's unfortunate. And I think a lot of agents are going to sober up to the idea like, holy cow, man, I've been selling houses at a high level for a long, long, long time. And every January, you got to erase that dry erase board that we just talked about.
Do you see other brokerages that are starting to adopt the EXP model?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, I think there's, oh God, somebody just told us this. 47?
64 is what they said at EXP.
64 knockoffs.
Okay.
64 bootlegs.
I mean, because if it works that well, it's only a matter of time before people start to try to replicate it, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things, the advantage, obviously I'm a little biased because I do think that EXP was first to market, and I think it's the best one out there currently. It's kind of like the Uber versus Lyft argument,
It's like
right?
the Ford.
Yeah, the Ford. I mean, I do love Ford.
I
Don't
know
get me
you
wrong.
do.
You're right. Yeah.
I saw that one go.
Yeah. I got a little nervous about it. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. It's like Ford, though, right? I mean, they're the OG in the automobile.
Yeah.
They learned manufacturing, I guess, debatably, but yeah. So you got EXP. They were the first to do it, and they're the ones that figured it out, and they're doing it right. But there's knockoffs. They're just
The Lyft is a really good reference.
Yeah. Uber versus Lyft, and there's not a model out there that's sustainable yet, other than EXP. We're the only one that has cash. I heard on another podcast the other day, EXP has $134 million in cash. We're the only one that's profitable. All the other ones are still kind of bootleg competitors that may or may not make it.
Oh, you're saying as far as the cloud-based
Yeah, cloud-based.
Got it.
Yeah, I think agents ultimately will, like, if you look at the way the industry is changing, whether after the antitrust settlement, I think agents are going to start sobering up. If our commissions continue to get squeezed, there's no sense in paying 10% plus your royalty fee, franchise fee, resource fee, whatever those fees are, in perpetuity to a broker.
Now, I've heard some debates from other broker owners, not recently, but over the last 2 or 3 years, that it's almost impossible and or unprofitable to own a brokerage because agents ultimately want all of the commissions. And so I can understand getting rid of the office space, getting rid of the admin, getting rid of all of the overhead that's concerned in respect to that. But how does a company stay in business if the agents are, continuing to want more and more and more?
Cap model.
Yeah, I think that's the age-old question, right? Like the old-fashioned model is, you got the broker at the top,
right?
Agent below that, and then as you grow, we can talk about that, breakdown. I guess we just did talk about that breakdown, but there's always this push and pull between the broker and the agent. Agent wants a ton. They want leads. They want support. They want marketing. They want admin. They want, so on and so forth.
And they want 100% commission.
And they want 100% commission, right? Real estate agents are smart. They're entrepreneurs.
Sure.
We have 1.5 million entrepreneurs out there. And, the cap model works.
Yeah, cap model works. Now, wasn't one of the originators of the cap model, though, Gary Keller?
Gary Keller created this in the 90s.
Okay. So this has existed.
Oh, yeah.
Just hasn't been perfected.
Profit share versus rev share is the conversation now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So if you look at the model, Gary Keller created one of the biggest companies, real estate companies, and it is one of the biggest companies in the world. It is the biggest real estate company in the world.
Are they bigger than Berkshire or Remax?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they have the highest agent count still of anyone. And I think we're on their heels. I think EXP is going to catch up to them in time. There's a couple of reasons why. On our platform, you can get all your money back. You can get your cap back in EXP stock every single year, right? So if you're paying in $16,000, it's exactly what Gary created.
Right.
But the difference is at EXP, you can get that back. And
Sure.
if the stock grows, you're $16,000. If it doubles, you can do the math. You're a mortgage guy.
Yeah, so high producers are awarded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You get equity. And then what was the question? What?
Well, my question was, we talked about the cap model,
Mm-hmm.
and this is ultimately because, again, I've talked to certain broker owners that are basically kind of to your point. I mean, you had it happen back in 2008 or 9, where you said you were vacuuming, you were doing all the things, and ultimately you said, the money's not in this, it's in doing the transaction. So you went back to being, a basic sales rep, right?
Yep.
It was just more profitable for you to do that. So I've talked to a lot of broker owners that, have kind of saying the same sentiment, that it's like, agents want more and more and more, and it's you can't run a company without any sort of, revenue coming in if agents are taking 100% and the brokerage is taking nothing. So you're like, the cap model works. And I said, but the cap model has existed, wasn't it Gary Keller that originated it? And that's how we got to where we're at right now.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Thanks for the the overview.
It was the Topo Chico burp that threw me off.
Yeah, I mean, I've been rattled ever since.
Absolutely ripped.
Absolutely.
I get it.
Threw me.
I'll edit it.
Yeah. No. Don't edit it. I like it. So yeah, Gary Keller created it. Grew the biggest company in the United States. It's a great, a lot of people doing really well there. So,
but the difference is that if you are, you can take your cap, and I believe what you said is put it in as stock. You get it back.
No, here's the awesome part about our model.
Got it.
If you at EXP, if you do $2.6 million in sales at a 3% commission, you're paying in $16,000 to EXP.
That's your cap.
That's your cap.
Right.
Then you go to a quote unquote 100% model. If you do another 20 transactions, there's a $250 transaction fee.
Okay.
You're what we call an icon agent.
Got it.
So depending on your price point.
So you're putting up another $5,000.
Exactly. So
Right.
you put in $5,000. So you pay $21,000. Yeah. You pay $21,000 to the broker total. You get $16,000 back in EXP stock.
Got it.
Plus appreciation.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the stock's doing well,
yeah,
right.
It's beautiful. And here's the other thing, that the person that's, we're comparing Gary Keller or Keller Williams to EXP right now. But if you're at a traditional brokerage and you're paying 10%, you say you're a top producer and you're paying 10%. Some agents are paying 20% plus franchise fees, right?
But even go in the good model. Like I was at one point at 96.4, but I was paying a 6% brand fee. Same thing as the 10% fee. But go with where you were going with.
So if you're at one of those models, right, you are paying that 10% in perpetuity, and you never get a nickel back. You walk out the frickin' door with a box,
Right.
full of glass trophies that aren't worth. Can we cuss on this thing?
Yes.
They're not worth jack shit.
They're not worth shit.
Yeah.
They're not worth shit, people.
Who's the
They're a nice
CPA?
pat on the back.
So who's not a good fit for EXP?
I think somebody that wants to be. You have to plug in to win, right? We have a ton of culture. We have a ton of collaboration because everybody's an equity owner. The person that's not going to be successful there is the person that doesn't plug in. So you have to plug in, and you have to.
Can you unpack plug in? What do you mean by that?
It's where the pros go to grow.
It is where the pros go to grow, my man. So plugging in to me looks like making sure you're on the appropriate training calls every week, making sure that you go to happy hours. If they're, we have a happy hour almost every single week. I can't go because I have my kids that night.
Gotcha.
But we do an agents helping agents once a month at ABOR, which is huge. Going to regional rally. We have an EXP regional rally. We have one in San Antonio. Man, now I'm about to burp because of this doggone Topo Chico driving me crazy trying to hold it back. But so we have regional rallies in San Antonio. We have regional rallies in Houston and Dallas. So you've got to get around people, right? You've got to get out and do that kind of thing. I think it's all stuff that you should be doing anyway.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. So if you're not showing up, you're not going to make it. You're probably not going to make it
Anywhere.
Anywhere,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
Just
Yeah.
leverage the model that EXP has to your benefit and do the same shit you would be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I blamed the majority of that on COVID stuff, man. I mean, when COVID hit, there were so many agents that I felt like were super excited about not having to go to the networking event or anything along those lines. And what I identified, though, is in that 2 years between 2020 and 2021, my job especially became a lot more stressful because I felt agents doing a lot of what I call like fence fighting. You ever see two dogs on the other side of the fence where they they bark at each other?
Yeah.
But then you open up that fence, you see the videos, and then they're like,
Mm-hmm.
Agents turned into like attorneys and everything like that. And it was just, in my opinion, from an outsider looking in who was part of the business, it was just a hostile environment. And I've been pitching for years. I mean, that's why we do this whole barbecue and mingle on Friday. It's designed to get agents together to have conversations, tell stories, and more importantly, I tell people, if you want longevity in this business, you're going to bump into these agents on the other end of the transaction. And you do not want your buyer, getting his balls busted on the purchase price because you were an asshole on another transaction. You should meet these other agents and be cordial and have conversations and realize we all want the same thing. We're in it for our clients, and we want our clients to have a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that people do early in their career. Myself, super guilty of that. Like this big ego, like, oh, I know what I'm doing, and being very confrontational.
You're good.
It feels like you want to be confrontational at the beginning, but it's the absolute opposite. I also think that your point's valid. Like, I think the COVID thing and Zoom became like the prosthetic that we're all leaning on, right? Like we're all stuck at our houses and, we want to stay at our houses. But the reality is getting out, hanging out, giving Matt a, punch in the arm and giving people hugs and being with community is super important.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to the next topic I have is culture and community. So we're already talking about it. Explain the organizations and from organization to team to solo agent and how everything works at EXP.
Yeah. So can you elaborate on that question just a little bit more? So say it again.
Okay. So let's go break it down from what's an organization, what's a team, what is being a solo agent without a sponsor.
Okay. So when you come to EXP, you're going to be sponsored by another agent, whether it's me, Matt Kemps, there's 86,000 other EXP agents. Who sponsors you really matters, right? You want to make sure you have a good onboarding. You want to make sure that you have access to all the tools and technology and have a really good understanding. Onboarding at most companies is pretty rough. So having somebody that is there for you and that is the leader in your organization, and organization at EXP is just, for example, I have the collective at EXP.
Gotcha.
I've sponsored 20 people directly. Those people have sponsored another 26, and then I think there's another 5 and another 2 that I don't know. Those people I don't know. But we take really good care of those people, regardless if we know them or not. So we want to make sure that they are getting, and so going back to answer Matt's questions, every week, and this goes back to your question too, every week we're sending out an email of like, hey, join us for this, and this. Mark your calendar for our Friendsgiving that's coming up next week. Mark your calendar for our holiday party. Be sure to be on this great training. Wednesdays at noon, there's a great training. Every Friday morning, we have a great training. So, and a good organization has a good leader at the top. Hopefully, I'm fulfilling on that, Matt. You can be the judge of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a dick.
He is a dick.
He's phenomenal.
So a traditional team too. You can run a traditional team on the EXP platform as well, right? We have 3 different ways to bring your team over. Actually 4. Domestic team, husband-wife team, they only pay 1 cap. Husband-wife teams kill it here.
I bet.
It's like their overhead goes to...
Instead of a $32,000 cap with 2 people, it's $16,000.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We have
you and James should just get married.
We're not going there.
You have okay, so four different types of teams. You guys are a really good distraction. Have you guys noticed that, by the way? You guys are like...
We're trying to keep you not so scripted, man. Make it come across as,
Am I sounding pretty
genuine.
scripted these days?
Well, you're doing great.
Am
I
loosening it up? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we just need to hit you really hard. Your shoulders will drop a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right. We'll relax a little bit.
Just imagine we're back at Lowe's having some sushi.
Oh, I like sushi.
Yeah.
The
one I still owe you for.
Yeah, you do. How much do you owe me? 60? You owe me $175.
That's because we played Hammer.
Yeah. I beat Matt's ass in golf.
I saw that. I was like, wow, that's wild. I didn't know you were that good.
He's not.
He was just being really bad. Matt's just bad. So there's 4 different ways to organize a team on the EXP platform. Domestic husband-wife team, domestic partnership, that they kill it.
Right.
Overhead comes down by half. Self-organized team, so you can kind of
organize it how you want to.
Yeah, self-organized is exactly what it sounds like. You can be a mega icon team. just like Matt Kemps, and standard team.
And that standard has a little bit more rules in place.
Yeah. So there's ways that you can, one of the things that Leo Pareja says that I really like is you can build the dream that you want to build on our platform. So there's a lot of agents out there that just want to sell 15 to 20 houses every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good life, great lifestyle. They can provide for their family. They're doing, kid pickup, kid drop off. That's awesome. You've got the agent like myself that has, a little bit, I'm a little more ambitious than that. I do 50 to 75 transactions every year. And that's kind of where I can find balance, right? I'm going to pick up my kids this afternoon. That's just enough for me. Or there's other people that maybe like Matt Kemps who, Matt's running a team and wants to do 100 to, 200. And there are a lot of people out there doing 1,000 transactions or more. So you can build whatever you want on our platform.
I dig it.
The one thing I wanted to cover, because we haven't talked about it at all, I know you've probably been intentionally avoiding it, is rev share.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to just be really clear about that at EXP is bring your business here, run it. If it's a good fit for you and it feels like you can run your business at a really high level and you can get some equity at the same time, it's a really good fit for you. I think one of the misnomers to EXP is that we're a MLM and that all agents do is they go out there and recruit. And yes, there is a portion of that on our platform, but only about 12 to 13% of agents at EXP do any recruiting at all.
Have 5 or more agents.
Well, I think it's even less than that.
But it doesn't that hasn't rev share ultimately existed almost at every single brokerage? I mean, you had productivity managers that could go in and do it, or you had downlines. I mean, downlines is a thing.
But that was profit share, not revenue share.
Well, but your point is valid.
Yeah.
Realty Austin is a local brokerage here in Austin. They had revenue share.
Right.
They have
Keller has downlines.
Keller has a downline. Coldwell Banker has. Well, I don't want to speak to Coldwell because I don't know, but there's a lot of other companies.
Shit. I was
there. But there are a lot of companies out there. Most reputable companies have some sort of bonus for bringing on an agent, right? So it's the same thing. But most agents at EXP don't have it, so or are not actively doing that. So but it is a great way to supercharge your business because now you've got the 3-lane analogy again, right? You've got production at a super high level in lane 1, you've got equity in stock in lane 2, and then lane 3 is where you can really start to think about like, okay, how am I getting off this highway? Right? Our business is just unfortunately more, right? And if you're stuck in the left lane, ultimately you're going to run into some sort of roadblock, right?
Yep.
Health, divorce, whatever.
It's a treadmill.
It is a treadmill. It's, and when you get to be like, I'm older than you guys, but only by a year or two.
Right.
But, it's at some point you get to be like, holy cow, man, I don't want to sell 75 houses next year. I'm worn out. So anyway, revenue share is a great way to start attracting agents that like, and trust. Use some of that equity. You can attract agents in all 50 states. I have 4 or 5 agents that are amazing in Denver. I have a previous past client of mine who went to work at Keller Williams. She's in Springfield, Illinois, of all places.
That's where Abraham Lincoln was born.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
God.
I went and saw his house. I was just there like maybe 2 months ago.
Is that on the drive back down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back down from where?
I was driving back down from Ohio. I had a friend of mine that needed to transport her car, and I was up there, and I just went, I'll drive it back. She's like, what? I'm like, I'll do it. I've made that drive. Like, that was the 4th time I've made it.
Wow.
So
why did you even get out of the car in Springfield? You just wanted to go see that house?
Well, we were driving through Illinois, and I was like, I just don't like to stop unless we're in a major city. So I had to pee or something along those lines. No, we ate. So I stopped in Springfield. It's where the Cardinals are, Illinois State. And when we were there, I was eating at this little coffee shop, and I was downtown because that's another thing I like to do. I don't like to like stop at a gas station. So you take like a 15-minute jog off the highway, and I'm in downtown Springfield, got a bite to eat, and I was looking at this pamphlet, and it's like, oh, Lincoln's like childhood home, and it was like 2 blocks away. I'm like, let's go check it out. So we did.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
they have
awesome.
it like preserved the way it was and everything like that. And it's like a 1-bedroom, log cabin, small house.
Yeah.
Sick.
That's
It's
awesome.
It's really not that cool. But, it was like, you saw it. It's like, I did that.
Yeah.
So Springfield, Illinois.
Yeah, so I sponsored an agent, a previous client of mine. She moved up there, became a real estate agent, went to work at Keller Williams. I sponsored her. She's now at EXP. She's killing it on our platform with some of our lead generation programs. And what's really wild about her, $250,000 is their average price point.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable to me.
That's like Cleveland.
Yeah, you can buy like a mansion on the water for $850,000.
Yeah, Cleveland I think is $275 right now, and when I left, it was $175, and that was in 2019.
Wow, it's wild.
But you do so many more transactions up there. It's like it's different because, and I'll be honest, the agents that are up there, broad stroke statement, way better agents because you can't close 3 to 5 transactions a year. You won't. You'll literally starve.
Yeah.
So you have to be invested in going after new business, being that real estate agent, and being really good at your job. So like because let's face it, like I know what I call like the housewife real estate mom. She sells like 1 or 2 homes in Westlake, and she makes like $60,000, and her husband's like a billionaire, and she sucks. She sucks at her job. She does 2 deals a year, right? But you can make a living doing that. You cannot do that in Springfield, Illinois, or Ohio. It's not an option.
I think the antitrust lawsuit is going to help kind of wean out some of that.
Yeah, tell me why. I would love that.
Well, I think that the guy that's, and I see him downtown sometimes, the guy that's hanging around at your local bar and just kind of stumbling over business.
Yep.
Number one, we don't have that business in Austin right now, right? There's not a lot of abundance in business. So people that are out there hustling, that are making money today are doing a damn good job. So kudos to those out there that are still doing transactions in Austin. And so if somebody's listening to this podcast outside of the Austin market, the reality is our market is one of the worst in the country right now. And this is the worst market since 1995. But I think that guy and that lady that you mentioned, the Westlake, housewife, they're not going to be taken serious because they're not going to know how to articulate their value when they have to have that buyer's representation agreement, right? It's kind of like taking a prenuptial agreement to a first date. Yeah. It's going to take some finesse. It does take some finesse. So if you don't have a buyer's agency process where you sit down and say, hey, Matt, I know you want to buy a house. Let's talk about, what we're going to do, how the process is going to go, how we're going to benefit you, and how we're going to mitigate your risk. Yeah. That's one of the things real estate agents, kind of haven't had to do is mitigate the risk for their clients.
I hope you're right, because it would make my life so much easier, because there is nothing worse than like I won't even relate it based on volume, because doing it down here makes it sound a little different. But, if you're doing under 5 transactions a year, I just do not think that's enough reps to really get a feel for all of the, obstacles that can arise. And if I have to hear an agent that tells me, because we pull agents' productions all the time, and if you're one of these agents that close 2 to 3 transactions a year because you've been doing it at a high price point, well, if you've been in the business for 30 years, congratulations. You've closed 90 transactions in 30 years? I'm not impressed, right? And when I have to hear I've never heard about this in my 30 years in business, it's like, well, that's because you've done 90 transactions. I did that last year. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Just last year. So we all know that deals are like snowflakes. No two are alike. And I would love the idea of getting, I've been saying for years, I wish that they would just increase y'all's renewal fees.
Yeah, and they may have to, right?
You're talking about ABOR.
Is it ABOR or NAR? I don't know. Or even have like a unit minimum. Like you have to close 15 transactions and then your renewal's what it is right now. If you're under 15, like your renewal's like $10,000. $10,000 or 15 transactions.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like playing your guitar, right? Like if you're going to negotiate for somebody on their most valuable asset and you're doing 2 reps a year, 3 reps a year, it's like trying to play, it's like me trying to play, professional golf like Matt Kemps does with, and my discipline at the range, like I never hit golf balls. I just go play golf, right? Because it's
Right.
fun. But I'm not going to be a pro with that.
Comment down below in the comments. Do you think at your local board of realtors should increase dues for those that don't do X amount of transactions? Give me your comments down below.
It's like I used to play Little League, right?
Yeah.
But if someone was like, "Hey, you know, we've got a professional like AAA ball, you know, you want to be on our team," I'm like, "I'm not qualified. Do I know how the game is played? Do I watch the game? Am I licensed or whatever? Did I play at a collegiate level? Sure. I retired at 14. You know, like, should I be on the team with everybody else who's like taking it super seriously?"
Yeah.
Same with golf. Like literally. So you can literally just say, I am a professional golfer now. You can just sign up and just say I'm professional. Those guys who do that and they go play a mini tour event, they're fucked.
Right.
Like, they're here's $2,000 for your hotel fees and your travel. Here's the $1,500 for your first event. You're gonna play 2 days. You're gonna play.
But here's the difference: golf is a single person sport.
Yeah.
My baseball analogy: if I get on a team with a bunch of guys that know what they're doing, I'm going to fuck them over as far as the game is concerned. Just as a real estate agent with no experience, with experience that they haven't honed in for the last couple of years.
I can make this analogy work.
All right, go ahead.
Golf is a solo sport, but there's a massive team behind you that supports you.
I see. So you're getting like, you're screwing your sponsors.
Sponsor, my agent, my family, everyone else who's included with you, the reps that are traveling with you, whether it's Tylus, it could be TaylorMade. If you have a clothing brand, if you have a sponsor that's going to be showing up to a certain event and you're going to be there. On the flip side, the guy who gets sponsored isn't the guy who just says, I'm going to go play professional golf.
Right.
And the guy who does say, I'm just going to play professional golf and doesn't actually take it seriously, he also can't get his amateur status back tomorrow morning. He can't go change his mind. So it is a decision, a big decision to make. But
so what else do you want to cover before we wrap this up? Because I know we have a meeting shortly.
We've got a hard stop at.
What time is it?
It is 1:53. We have a hard stop at 1:59.
Let's talk real quick about tips for new agents.
Man, I think tips for new agents, it's like become the realtor for life, right? Like
kind of what we just were talking about.
Yeah, like I hate this, and I just heard Jared James talk, or Jared James, Jared.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, he was on. He has a podcast. I think it's Jared James. But regardless, become a advocate for life. Right? It's not just transactional. Once we label these people as past clients, right? But really, after it closes, that's when your real value starts.
Yeah.
Right? Become somebody that can be called. Like people call me for all kinds of things. Hey, I had somebody call me that wanted me to help him find a notary. Like, I mean,
we just got called about a plumber. Russ had a leak.
Yeah.
Cross right here.
Yeah.
Become the advocate for life. And you know, we're running around mad at Zillow and Redfin and all these other portals for taking our business. They can't take what we care about, right?
Agreed.
If you're servicing
unless you work at a certain brokerage. But okay.
Yeah, if you're loving on your people the way they need to be loved on and deserve to be loved on, you're not going to lose them, right? They're not going to pick up the phone and talk to a Zillow agent. So if you're a new agent, get out there, be an advocate for life, and be in it not just for the transaction, be in it for the long haul.
I love it. Well, for the sake of time, we should probably wrap it up. Todd, we need to get you back on here another time, talk a little bit more about tips and tricks. That's always a good one. Provide that value, maybe even do one of the trainings that y'all were talking about where you get people together. You know?
Let's do it. I would
love that.
Thanks for having me on, guys. This has been super awesome. Thanks for putting this all together. You guys look so professional.
Anytime, man. Next time I'll wear a suit for you.
Oh, no. I'm into being casual.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, buddy.